Hi everyone, welcome back to my series Agile Development 101. On this episode, I'm going to talk about building a roadmap and also developing a plan for an MVP, a minimum viable product. So we're back with Agile Freight, which is the case study that we're using for this series. And right now, it's at version 1.0.0, which is called quotation, because the primary feature is the quotation. So if I come here into my repository and I look at the history file, see right now it's 1.0 quotation. So my product can do a lot, right? It can quote any type of freight for a variety of different shipments. You can manage rates, which get defaulted in a certain hierarchy. And you can create and manage customers. They can be divided up by office, and so they're segregated depending on your user. Now, so the question is, what do we do next? What is a 2.0 going to have in it? And maybe even beyond that. Of course, the closer the horizon is, the more detail we will know, but we should have some kind of product strategy whenever we're developing something because we're investing money into it. So in what direction could we go? We could work to make the quotation tool better. We could, in the ways we could do that, we could make the rate management better. It could support uploads of different rate formats that we have. We could support different quote output options. I could add, for instance, statistics, helpful statistics for manager level people, and I could even add kind of contextual information into the quote, like for this customer, what was the last thing, like for this particular these set of quote properties, what was the last thing we quoted, either on to this customer or to a different customer. So that's a couple of different ways we could enhance quotation. We could also work on a new module. We could work on, say, what I would call shipments. So, you quoted someone, now they want to ship something, so that's a shipment. How would that get recorded in the system, and how could we make a good tool for recording that? And so what we need is a roadmap, right? And because probably stakeholders in the company are going to want everything, but realistically I'm only one person, so I can only develop one thing at a time. If we had multiple teams, we might be doing both at the same time, but this is a simplified scenario. There's only one team, there's only one developer, so probably only work on one thing at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a document called roadmap, a markdown document. Okay, so markdown documents are like easy to format text documents, right? So there is a version 1.0.0 release, which is called quotation, right? That's where we are now. Now, what does 2.0 look like? Let's say we want to work on so really this discussion needs to center around business value. What is more valuable? Making the quote tool better or making the shipment, creating a new shipment tool? And that all depends on context. But whatever we work on, whatever we end up prioritizing, we should do it in an efficient way, right? every hour of development effort is investment, so we should want to maximize our return on that investment. So let's say that the organization has a strategy and they want to go after shipments. They want all the shipments to be recorded on this application. So shipment. Now shipment could be as complicated as we want to make it, and it could be as simple as we want to make it. But there's probably some minimum set of criteria that would be valuable to the business and acceptable for a 2.0 release. And that set of functionality or supported business functions is what we would call an MVP. Okay, so this 1.0 is done, right? And this, we're going to write MVP. Oops, MVP. Okay, so this shipment MVP, what would it look like? Well, it needs bare minimum, which means nice to have is excluded. That's got to be in subsequent releases. So there's some kind of high-level set of things that have to happen. One is we have to be able to record a shipment, ability to record a shipment, right? So there's going to be some data capture, right? Probably some cargo information, some cargo movement, and status, okay? And then we would need, most likely, so shipments, usually there's some type of output, which is a shipping document. For sea freight, that would be a bill of lading, and for air freight, that would be a airway bill. So produce key shipping document, bill of lading or airway bill. So since we want this to be minimum, we should keep thinking, is this really a minimum? Or could we get rid of this? Well, technically we could get rid of everything, but would it be acceptable to our business to have a shipping tool that does not produce a shipping document? That all depends on context. So I'm going to say that this is, clearly understood by whatever organization we're in, that that the shipping document needs to be produced by this tool, by whatever tool we use. So it's non-negotiable. It has to produce one. Now the manner in which we produce it can vary, and we should probably pick a simple way of doing it so that we don't drag out the development of the first release. Okay, so we need to record a shipment. We need to produce a key shipment document, and this is part of an application that creates a quote, and that quote is useful information for the shipment. We could say, this shipment module is completely independent, but we could quickly end up developing in two separate directions, the quote and the shipment. So if we want to keep things aligned and in an integrated package, there should be a connection between the quotation and the shipment. So quotation, information, so maybe we say ability to bring quotation information to a shipment. So what does that look like? Don't really know. This is a high level, this is like an epic in Agile terminology. An epic is a very high level requirement which doesn't really say much of anything about how it works, but we know that there's some sort of business process behind it that will be fulfilled. So quotation information into a shipment. Now quotes ultimately turn into invoices. We could make invoicing part of part of the process, or we could say that that's done externally. And it would, again, just like this key shipping document, it would depend on the appetite of our business. Can they issue invoices externally and record all the financial transactions externally, or do they need, or is it too burdensome and that it would need to be automated somehow? So in this case, I'm going to take the assumption that we can leave it out and it could come in a subsequent version. Okay, so my MVP is very simple and there's a lot of wiggle room on each of these 3 points, but it really shows you the bare bones of what would be necessary to get this up and running. And by up and running, I mean kind of used in a in some kind of live scenario. So now that we have our MVP, we would have to plan out how to get there, right? And we may change the order of these things. We may have to rework some of the quotation in order to get this part working. But that's really up to the Agile team itself, the Scrum team, and the prioritization of which is done by the product owner based on discussions and communication that he or she has with key stakeholders and the development team. So in the next episode, I think we'll dig into that a little bit and talk about how we would plan the first sprint for this shipment MVP. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.